Hi guys, Ozan here from Model Creator again. Making of this video took a bit longer than what we hoped, but we've been very busy. I mean, we've been really spread thin apart, between our regular jobs and also all the work on Model Creator. Today, I will talk about our first phase after we've came up with the idea and went through all the talks and discussions and so forth, and that is the prototyping. Prototyping for us was very important because we had to learn about 3D models, we had to learn about 3D printers, we had to learn about the materials and all the drawbacks and shortcomings and most importantly restrictions of the whole ecosystem. And the first model models actually that we've had made were based on a model that was scanned in Crow Team's 3D scan cage when they were doing prep work for Series M4, and they were kind enough to provide us the base model, and then we found a 3D modeler to transform this base model into two poses. And the first one that we chose was of a soldier kneeling and shooting an M4 carbine. And the second pose from the same model that we decided to have made was of the same soldier but unarmed and surrendering. What we learned from these models was that special care has to be paid to the thickness of certain parts. The initial models proved to be very nice in terms when you would look at them, but certain areas were too thin and we couldn't actually have them printed out because the trigger guard, the trigger, the barrel and so forth on the guy that was kneeling was just too thin, and these had to be made thicker, which basically means that they are not in perfect scale. But fortunately, if you look at 135 or 116, still the sizes of these details is small that it's very difficult to notice, or actually, to be honest, I don't see the difference between the thicknesses of 1 or 1 point something millimeter or whatever. But it was made clear very quickly that we have to pay a lot of attention to the weapons, which of course for Model Creator is very important, since the idea is that you can create your own historically accurate soldier. And part of the soldier, most important part, apart from the soldier himself, is his weapon. There were other things which we also, noticed in the fingers and so forth, but those proved, quite easy to overcome, and they were not as brittle as we maybe feared after the initial problems we've had with the weapons. After that, we decided to make another prototype. This time we've decided to go for a series, let's say, of historic models. And the first one that we've decided to do was a model of a North Korean soldier in winter gear. This is, according to our general strategy that we want to cover the less known conflicts, and to our best of knowledge there are very few models like that. And the important part of this model actually turned out to be the historical research, because as they are not very known, we had to do quite a bit of searching to see what was the attire for the North Korean soldiers and the Chinese volunteers, and in this our specific case of the winter gear. And we found a bunch of photos and everything, and obviously it became clear that there were variants, but in general we found a few subtypes, and we chose one of them and then did the model of this let's say well-dressed Korean prepared to assault the UN line during fierce North Korean, fierce generally Korean winters. In parallel to the North Korean, we've also asked another 3D designer to build us a model of Rhodesian light infantrymen. And this model actually, in retrospect, was maybe our best choice, because it seems that the Rhodesian bush war is very popular among modelers, and also something which is seriously lacking on the market. We chose initially for a pose of a guy kneeling after maybe tracking and also resting a bit, and dressed in a very typical light infantry uniform of extremely short pants and a shirt. By today's standards, it's very difficult to imagine that anyone would be wearing this in a bush surroundings. It's basically for the beach almost. But yeah, times have changed. The equipment from the soldiers has changed, and we as humans also have become, I think, a bit more sensitive to certain things. And our forefathers wouldn't really care if their knees were scratched or something. If they had to jump on the ground to avoid someone firing at them with the AK. As with Model Creator, we do not only plan to cover modern time, Cold War or World War II with our models, we then also do prototypes of US Civil War infantrymen, and also of Austro-Hungarian infantrymen from World War I. That's probably wearing the stuff that my grandfather used to wear before he got discharged from the Austro-Hungarian military. And we also then decided to play around a bit, also to show the possibilities with Model Creator, and then we created a model of a US Marine with AK-47, testing it out or using it because his M16 failed. And just recently, we also had a model of a Taliban done, which is, sort of a bit, looks a bit funny in certain ways because it may be over-exaggeratedly stereotypical. But with everything that was going on with the withdrawal from Afghanistan, we just, we couldn't resist. So yeah, so this is basically, the stuff that we are going through with prototyping and continue to go. And I hope you found this video interesting. There will be more coming, of course. In the meantime, please subscribe and like the video, and also follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And also you can subscribe to our newsletter on our website, Model Creator. And the newsletters cover all these models and the prototyping that we did in more detail than this video will allow. Thank you very much for your time, and see you around. Be well, be safe, and